Before we start today's episode, I have a special announcement for you. If you're a listener of this podcast, then I'm sure you want to jump from 3D to 5D, right? And the fastest way for our consciousness to expand from third dimension, which is fear, to anchor in the fourth dimension, which is love, and jump to the fifth dimension, which is clarity and expanded consciousness, is by listening to channel meditation. Every time we listen to a channel meditation, our vibration arises and our consciousness expands. This is why I'm hosting a free 10 days 5D meditation challenge that will help you jump from the third dimension and anchor in the fifth dimension. I invite you to join me in this free meditation challenge. You can find the link below in the description, and I'm so excited that we will be meditating together for 10 days. Welcome back to Instant Clarity Podcast. My name is Tjaša Dorelay and I'm a channeling medium. What does it mean to be a spiritual person? Is it possible to meditate daily and be spiritual at the same time, have a lot of money and drive nice cars? In this episode, I touch on the important topic of illusions that exist in spiritual world. So if you're curious to know what is my view on all these illusions, then jump into this episode and find out. I'm so passionate to talk about this topic with you today because there are so many illusions around spirituality circulating around us that it's just incredible. So I am grateful that we will open now this conversation. One of the experiences that I had, as you maybe know, if you've listened to previous episodes, is that I stepped on this spiritual path very young. I was 12 years old when my mom got ill, and this opened our family to start, researching for other options for her healing. And this led us to different spiritual modalities, techniques, and so on. So as a little girl, I was 12 when this happened, I already went to healing circles, working with shamans and different healers, mediums, psychics, you name it, everything. I really tried everything. So I've had these experiences of different spiritualities already when I was growing up. And what I recognized is that many spiritual people were, wearing long robes, they didn't take care of their body really. They didn't put any makeup, they were not driving around in nice cars. They were most of the time broke, they didn't have any money, but they were so enlightened. And something inside of me was just not clicking, How can you be so enlightened and at the same time living life poorly? I was looking from the eyes of a little girl, because for me, I felt that if you're a spiritual person, if you are connected to your source, then you have a healthy body, then you have enough money, then you can live this material world to its fullest. So this started like a process inside of me. And when I was growing up, I was really, experiencing so many spiritual modalities. I realized that my view of spirituality, it's a little bit different than the view of many people that I was meeting at that time. And I recognized that for me, spirituality, it's not something we do juju, but spirituality for me, it's life. And I will share with you how I perceive spirituality. So for me, being connected to my source, to my soul, to my consciousness means living a spiritual life. So every spiritual practice that helps me get in alignment with my truth, with my wisdom that is, inside of me, is actually contributing to my physical life. And our souls actually came here to live in this time and space. We didn't choose to incarnate, like 100 years ago, or maybe we did, but this time we are here. So we are also here to experience the pleasures, the material world, to experience everything that is existing on this planet right now. And for me, being spiritual just means that when you are connected to your source, you live in alignment with your truth and you enjoy the earthly life with this clarity. So being spiritual, meditating every day and, locked in a cave, yes, you can do that if this is vibrationally aligned with you. And I'm not judging that, go and do that if this is vibrational match for you. But at the same time, what I see is many times spirituality is just another way of, disengaging, just another way of escape. Now I'm meditating every day and I'm escaping this life that I've came to live. I'm, locking myself in the ashram because I'm not ready to face, my family karma or whatever. So we're going on these retreats, we're doing all the ceremonies and everything, using plant medicine and so on, just to go away into another dimension. And then many people, they have troubles coming back down to ground themselves. So they're going from a retreat to a retreat and so on. And this is actually a way of escape. For me, spirituality means emerging those two worlds, being, spiritual and being grounded in this earthly realm means like the perfect combination. So I love to dress nicely. I love to wear high heels. I love to drive nice cars. I love to have sex. I love to enjoy the earthly realm. But at the same time, I adore my spiritual practice and I'm meditating daily. I'm channeling daily. And why? Because I want to feel connected to my source. And I see that these spiritual practices are there with a reason. And the reason is not to escape from my earthly world, but to connect me to who I am and help me bring down all the energy that my soul has the ability to ground and to bring here on this planet. I remember one time I was speaking on stage at my event. There were a few hundred people there in the venue with me. And then afterwards, one lady came to talk to me and she said, I asked my friend to come on this event with me and she didn't want to come because she said, oh, this is, spiritual things. I don't like these things. And she said, no, you have to go. This is different. And she managed to bring her there to the event. And she shared with me, and then you came on the stage and you started dancing and the whole room started dancing and jumping, and having fun. And my friend was just surprised. How is this possible? Is this even spirituality? And I loved this because it shared this situation showed me how we are actually living in so much illusions. And one of the illusion is that if you're spiritual, you cannot have earthly things. You can't enjoy like material possessions. But the fact is that the more spiritual you are, the more aligned you are with your source and the more flow you can create. So you can create financial freedom. You can create everything. You're a manifestation master when you're connected to your source, which happens through your spiritual practice. So you can create anything in the outside world when you have your spiritual connection. But at the same time, what happens is that your priorities change. You are not focusing on gaining things out of ego. You're not manifesting nice car because you don't feel good enough and you want, your society to have a say about you, or maybe have like a vision, oh, now she's successful because she has a nice car. No, you're manifesting material possessions that you find joy in it, not because you're not, you're looking for validation. So everything is just about the internal energy, the energy with which you step into the manifestation, the energy through which you live your life. So I invite you to really think about your illusions that you have. Maybe you're not, you don't try meditating because you are afraid that something bad will happen to you, or maybe you don't want to be a part of the group of people who are, floating around in dresses that are so spiritual. You don't need to be like that. Many people in my community, they're just normal people, but they are connected to their spiritual part of their being because this is connecting them to themselves. So I have to say, like, we don't need to put those two things apart. Oh, I'm meditating, but I'm not telling everybody in my life about this because, I'm afraid what will they think? And I'm just showing off the other part, the material part of my life. No, just, merge both worlds. And I want to be a mirror for you for exactly that. You can merge both worlds. So have your spiritual practice, not with the intention to, create more money and so on, but have your spiritual practice because this will connect you to your source. And from that, you can have anything, you can create anything, and so on. And again, I'm not against any way of, spirituality. Just find the modality, the techniques, the practices that are aligned with your soul. And also, I gently touched on this topic before, but I want to share more about it. There's so much fear around spirituality. Like, don't meditate too much. Something bad can happen to you. Oh, you're channeling. Oh, you can, connect with bad entities and so on. Why is there so much fear around spirituality? Because in the previous times, in the past, people of power, they didn't want us, like people, to be connected to our source. Because when we are connected to our source, we have the inner knowing. We know the truth. So we are not so easily manipulated. So in order for them to be able to manipulate the masses, they put so much fear, stigma, taboos, like judgments on the sexuality, because sexuality is also spirituality, on the spirituality because there is power. Spirituality, sexuality, it's the same. It connects us to our source. So sexuality is just part of your spiritual experience. So this is why when there is so much fear coming up, you have to know this is not yours. The fear is not yours. It is there in the collective consciousness because there was a need. They wanted people to be dissociated from their source because this is how we could be manipulated. Obviously, we are now waking up, we're finding our inner power, connecting to our source, and we are actually transforming also this collective consciousness. I've been on my spiritual journey for more than 2 decades, channeling for more than 1 decade. And in all this time, I haven't experienced any negative experience. And I've been channeling, oh my God, so many times, connecting to so many different levels of consciousness. And what I've experienced is that there is no fear. Fear is here on planet Earth. This is the third dimension existence. But up there, the dimensions are higher and higher, and there's only love and clarity. And so nothing bad can happen. The fear that you have is connected to the collective consciousness of the planet Earth. And to conclude, I want you to know that everything that is vibrationally aligned with you, it's a right way for you. So you do the practices, the spiritual, retreats or anything that you like, but just be sure if this practice, the modality you're stepping in is cultivating fear, then this is not spirituality, because spirituality never cultivates fear. It cultivates clarity, it cultivates higher consciousness, it cultivates love. So for me, how I check if something is vibrationally aligned with me is to check, is this activating love or is this activating fear? So if you feel more fearful when you do that, you just step out of this, and turn yourself to another practice that will activate the love. And the practice that will actually also not put your power out of yourself. So if somebody says, you have to do that, just step out of this conversation, because the power is always inside of us. And many times, even when I had private clients for whom I was channeling, they ask the angels the questions, but angels that I was channeling, they never took the responsibility. They always share, look, if you do that, this is what is going to happen. If you do that, we encourage you to go to this path, but this is your decision. So if you look back, we had spirituality connected to religion, and religion was connected to control, being the authority of you, telling you what you should do or what you shouldn't do. But the reality is this is not connected at all, because the power has always been inside of you. So you have the power to decide. You are your own authority, not even me, not even angels, not even the guides that I channel and you hear them here on this podcast. You decide if this is vibrationally aligned with you or no, and just follow the steps of vibrational alignment. And this is how you will step out of the illusions and start living the experience of being a spiritual person living an earthy life. And I want you to have it all, to be connected to your source, and again, to have a nice car if this is what you want. I wish clarity you received today has touched your heart, expanded your consciousness, and inspired you to become conscious leader of your life. If it has, leave a loving review, share this episode with your friends, and let's stay connected on Instagram at Tjaša Dorelay. And remember, your vibration creates your situation. I have a special announcement for you. If you're a listener of this podcast, then I'm sure you want to jump from 3D to 5D, right? And the fastest way for our consciousness to expand from third dimension, which is fear, to anchor in the fourth dimension, which is love, and jump to the fifth dimension, which is clarity and expanded consciousness, is by listening to channeled meditation. Every time we listen to a channel meditation, our vibration arises and our consciousness expands. This is why I'm hosting a free 10 days 5D meditation challenge that will help you jump from the third dimension and anchor in the fifth dimension. I invite you to join me in this free meditation challenge. You can find the link below in the description, and I'm so excited that we will be meditating together for 10 days.